on behalf of the San Diego County Water Authority and the County of San Diego's Watershed Protection Program. I'm sure you're all familiar with both of them as two agencies that manage our water quality and our water supply. And Lance here and I are going to talk a little bit about some programs that are available to growers through the Waterscape rebate program and a few other efforts that can, help reduce the costs of some of these upgrades that have been discussed so far to increase irrigation efficiency and improve productivity. And Lance is going to talk a little bit about, some of the results he's seen through the program so far. So Lance, you just want to introduce yourself as
Sure.
And where you fit in here?
Yeah. Afternoon. I'm Lance Anderson. I don't know what my title is really anymore at Mission Resource Conservation District. I'm still there as an agricultural consultant. I'm also farming full-time up in Fallbrook. And for the last 9 years, I was the ag program director for Mission RCD, primarily doing irrigation water evaluations through a contract with the County Water Authority on farms around the county.
So I just want to briefly introduce the Waterscape rebate program and familiarize you all a little bit with this program as it's relatively new. It is a new partnership between the Water Authority and the County of San Diego, which is really focused on increasing and expanding the number of rebates available to property owners of all kinds, residential, commercial, and agricultural, to both improve our water quality and stretch our water supplies. So kind of coming together. And basically, just seeing if I've got what I've got on the screen here. There's a whole new suite of incentives that are available, particularly in the unincorporated area. I think many of you and the people that you work with are in the unincorporated area, so great to be aware of these that extend to changes you can make across your property. So things like turf replacement, if you've got extra grass out there you're not using, we've got higher than ever rebates for grass removal. And if you saw the state's order as of last night, we're going to have to stop watering a lot of that grass if it's not being actively used in the next couple of months. So it's a great time to replace it, and there are great rebates for that. We're also really focused on helping people harvest rainwater, and so there are new incentives for capturing rain from different impervious surfaces across your property, as well as some things like permeable pavements. And you'll note down on the bottom, we've got irrigation efficiency incentives that I'll talk to you about in a moment. So these are the three that Lance is going to talk about more specifically. Mission Resource Conservation District is the Water Authority's and County's main partner for offering some new incentives, not necessarily new, they've been around for a couple months here, but incentives for making some of these efficiency focused upgrades on your property. So the first thing, you see that yellow star, they offer free water evaluations on your property. You start there, get a free evaluation and a report. And then we've got some new incentives for irrigation efficiency upgrades up to $5,000 per property, and soil moisture sensor systems. And Lisa can talk a little bit more about the details of both of those and answer any questions about them. But so just some new bits of funding that are available to help with some of those changes. The last thing I wanted to talk about briefly was a program that just want you to be aware of and see if, in case it's applicable to folks around where you live. Through this partnership, there's a brand new program, first of its kind in the country, actually, that's providing start to finish technical assistance to large landscapes with lots of turf grass to replace that with sustainable landscaping and kind of gather all the rebates that are available, get them applied, and get to big water savings and cost savings. So if you live in an HOA, commercial property and down the street, know that there's this great program out there, and we've got more than 200,000 square feet of turf grass coming out already just in the first 6 months of this program. So please do reach out about this one. And with this, I want to pass it over to Lance, but before I do that, want to note that on these programs that Lance is going to talk to you about, we are working on expanding and evolving them in the next few years, specifically to provide more help to growers to use the money in ways that help them. Heard a little bit earlier about labor shortages. So we're thinking about how to ensure that there's sufficient and affordable labor to get these upgrades done, as well as making sure that the supply chain is producing the equipment when we need it. And so I just like to make an invitation to all of you to reach out to me, to Lance, Mission RCD. We'd love to hear from you kind of what some of the challenges have been and where you've come up against roadblocks, because we are going to be actively thinking about programmatic changes to help address some of those in the next year. So with that, Lance, over to you.
Thank you, Megan. So the irrigation efficiencies at Rebates, that right,
Yeah.
Close enough title. So this program is based, through our collaboration with the County Water Authority, pursued a grant from DWR. Yeah. So the money comes from the Department of Water Resources at state level, part of the
IRWM.
IRWM, so the Integrated Regional Water Management Program, and to provide these rebates for irrigation improvements. After doing all these irrigation evaluations on farms and making these recommendations to growers on how they can make their irrigation system more efficient, it was frustrating to see those recommendations kind of get shelved simply because of financial barriers. For 12 years, we've managed a program for Rancho California Water District in Temecula that is kind of what the grant that we sent to DWR is based upon, where we went out, did the irrigation evaluation, determined uniformity, which is a way to express how efficiently in irrigation or how evenly water is spread across farmland. And we would do those evaluations. If it was below 80% uniformity, then they qualified for a cost share on the recommended components needed to improve that uniformity. The water district, they had secured a grant through which they provided a 50% cost share on the materials to growers in their customer base. So, Duluth and then out in wine country. And it's been very well received, and a lot of growers have participated in it. And we thought, well, why can't we duplicate that down here in San Diego? And so we worked together, put together the proposal, submitted it, were funded at a much better level than Rancho California. So the $5,000, the average payment to a grower in the Temecula program is about $1,500. And it comes as a credit on the water bill, so they don't actually get any cash. They just have to pay less for their water for a month. So our program that we developed is an actual, cash rebate after everything is completed. So the irrigation evaluation happens. You receive your report explaining what was found in the evaluation, what the recommendations are for improvement. And you go forward, you make those improvements, contact the conservation district, the irrigation auditor comes back out, reevaluates, determines that the uniformity has come up to 85%, I think. 85% is the industry standard for micro sprinkler systems. It'd be 90% for drip, and confirms that those improvements did as designed, and then the rebate is issued. And so that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. As an example, went out to this farm, there was a disaster, 9 acres, 14 irrigation blocks, 2-inch meter, very steep slope, meter was at the bottom of the hill, pipe going up the hill, started 2 inches, worked its way down to 1.25 inches at the top. Why anybody ever did that, I do not know. And then there was a lateral riser for every 2 rows instead of every row. So the uniformity, I think, was in the 50s. It was awful. Put together the new design, a 3-inch pipe going all the way up the hill, risers at every row, pressure compensating sprinklers, pressure regulators, all the things that would typically be expected in a design. So we went from 14 irrigation blocks to 3. So one, we made it possible for them to be able to irrigate the grove in a much more timely fashion. They actually get across it in less than a week. And their water is evenly spread. I think the uniformity was 89% after the improvements. So
You're talking about an orchard?
yeah, it was a grove. It was an avocado grove. Yeah. On a 35% slope. So that's just an example of what the program can do with, you know, the proper design, some money behind the grower to help get all that equipment purchased. I mean, the prices on that stuff is just crazy this year.
So you can get a sense here of what's available right now, kind of up to $10,000 for some of these upgrades. And, you know, that's money that is there. You just have to take that first step of getting an evaluation and kind of seeing where you're at and what's needed. And, you know, and as Lance mentioned, you know, costs are going up and supply chains are challenging. And, you know, those are the problems we are looking to solve in the next year. So really just want to reiterate, grab my email, grab our emails, and let us know what challenges you're coming up against to make some of these improvements.
Yeah, and I guess I would say the primary qualification to participate is you have to be using water from one of the districts, one of the member agencies of the water authority. So it doesn't qualify for wells.
Yeah, so I think we have a couple minutes for a question or two.
Oh, go ahead. So if we had someone come out and do the irrigation efficiency program, the original one, do they have to come out again to apply for the soil probe or the soil moisture sensors?
The soil moisture sensor, what's done on the property for that is a mapping of the soil to determine the best placement for the sensors. So yeah, that would require another visit. Yep.
I'll also note that, you know, we're working, I'm a consultant to the county and the water authority. We're working with them on some funding requests for next year that are going to allow us to evolve these programs. And some of it will include, you know, potentially some direct installation, kind of, you know, fully free technologies. So, you know, I'll go so far as to say, you know, if you could be interested, send an email, we'll get your name on a list and know that we will reach out when those programs become available.
For these, not the one that you were just speaking about, but these ones here, is application on a rolling basis, or are there deadlines yearly, or what's?
I think it's
It's just a
right?
rolling basis. Yeah.
What's the typical, I know it depends on what systems are being implemented, but is there a typical time frame from when a grower needs to, because you said rebate, so the growers pay for it front, it gets verified, and then is there another application process to apply for the rebate, or is it like a pre-approved project?
Yeah, so the application, it's a pre-approved, it's all as little paperwork as possible. Yeah, so once you've completed the request to participate in the program, the evaluation's done, you get your report. Technically, in the agreement, you're saying you're going to complete it in 60 days. There's wiggle room. You know, we don't expect somebody to tear apart an irrigation system in July. But
Less than a year.
it's,
typically.
yeah, it's less than a year. It's the 60-day thing there is just to kind of encourage people not to wait too long.
My second question was, are these, you mentioned water districts, so are these available anywhere in the county? Because I know some programs are just in the unincorporated areas of the county.
Yeah, I'll say a note on that and then maybe Lance chime in. But yeah, these programs that I noted here, just kind of this whole suite, are these rebate amounts that you're seeing are currently available only in the unincorporated area. And there are some similar programs in the incorporated area, slightly different rebate rates. Lance, do correct me if I'm wrong, but these three programs are available to anyone who is served by one of the 24 water agencies.
And do you know, is there a place where all of these types of programs, whether you live in a municipality or in the unincorporated area, of all these different programs? Is there a database of that available?
Not exactly, no, but there are two big, good resources. So the county's Waterscape rebate site does, have a few filters so that you can kind of indicate, hey, I'm in the unincorporated area, therefore I have access to all these. I'm not in the unincorporated area, or I'm in the unincorporated area, but I'm not a water authority, a water agency customer, right? Like I'm on a well or something. It does kind of filter for you. And if you are not in the unincorporated area, it sends you to watersmartsd.org, which is a great place to take a look at all of the rebates
Yeah,
there.
on our program, we have a website where we try to pull all these resources together, so. Thank you.
I think we're at time.